She was not gentle in this observation she made about the NFL at the conclusion to her written decision. The NFL may be a forward-facing organization, but it is not necessarily a forward-looking one. Just as the NFL responded to violent conduct after a public outcry, that's a reference to the Ray Rice case, so it seems the NFL is responding to yet another public outcry about Mr. Watson's conduct. At least in the former situation, the policy was changed and applied proactively. Here, the NFL is attempting to impose a more dramatic shift in its culture without the benefit of fair notice to and consistency of consequence for those in the NFL subject to the policy. Basically, what she's saying is, and she's got it right here, Chris. She's got it right. She's pegged the NFL. She may have limited experience in NFL matters, but she figured out one thing right away. They make it up as they go.
Yeah.
On everything.
Right.
On everything. There is never proactive thought. It is always reactive thought. It's always, oh, wait, we didn't think of this, so let's go ahead and deal with that situation, then we'll change the rules later. That happens all the time in the NFL.
No doubt. Probably
Happens in other organizations too. But she hit the nail on the head with the hammer with that one. It's absolutely right. But and the appeal goes to the guy who's in charge of the organization that makes it up as it goes. So, again, what's he going to do? He's going to make it up as he goes.
But, I understand some of that language, and she is right about that. I mean, we've been frustrated about the NFL and how they make it up.
But it's not going to shame him into stopping.
No,
it's not going
to
shame him into stopping. He's still going to do it.
No, exactly right. There's no way. I mean, it's almost like, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like this kind of stuff emboldens them a little bit more to be like, no, we're the all and mighty powerful NFL. You don't know as much as we do. Yes, there is that. I think the other part, maybe I disagree a little bit with maybe some of the language there, and I understand the lack of consistency for consequence there. But I think if you asked most people in the NFL, hey, most players, let's just say, what do you think might happen to you if you got 24 sexual allegations against you in the civil court? What do you think would happen? Most players are going to sit there and go, oh, man, I don't know. I might be done forever. I'm going to suspended for a year, 2 years. No one would be going, well, I'd probably only get 4 games because it's inconsistent with the prior policies. This is one where it's a little common sense to go what? That many people? Whoa, this is crazy. Yeah, okay, that's going to be some crazy punishment to go along with it too. I mean, it is. We've never seen anything like this. And not only ever seen anything like this, it is never seen anything like this, period. And then you add on, this is one of the, before this, what do you think? One of the 10 most popular players in the NFL? Definitely one of the 10 best players. Yeah, maybe 5, right. So, and one of the 5 best quarterbacks in football. So that even adds more to it to make it more complicated for the NFL. And like we were saying yesterday a little bit, this is delicate too. This guy's going to be on TV for 4 hours. It's him, Deshaun Watson. And then he's going to get interviewed. And if he plays good, he's going to get praised. And, it's not going to look right. And I think that's what the NFL is going to have to be very sensitive to here when Goodell makes this decision.
And here's the bottom line, though. And this is why the NFL wants to have final say in situations like this. And this is why the NFL resents any effort by any outsiders to have any control over the NFL's business. The NFL wants to decide in each given situation that falls into its radar, where action is required. It wants to decide what is right in that situation without regard to precedent, without regard to consistency, without regard to whether it's spelled out chapter and verse in the rules that the players don't even know about. They want to decide case by case what's right, and they don't want to hear, yeah, but that's different from what you did with this guy. Oh, but this is different from what you did with that guy. They just want to decide each case what we think is right, and they want to be the ones to make the decision. They know their business better than anyone else, and they get pissed when you try to tell them how to run their business. So my point is, this is all leading to the commissioner taking full advantage of the power that the NFLPA vested in the commissioner to be the one to say, sorry, in this case, given these facts, these unprecedented facts that any rational, reasonable person would know would put someone in jeopardy for a significant punishment by the NFL, an employer that has the right, thanks to the union, to police the private lives of players. And as Judge Robinson found, he's setting up these massages, not saying, I'm Deshaun Watson, private citizen that no one knows about. I'm the quarterback of the Houston Texans, and I need a massage. He's using the shield as part of the pretext for setting these up. I'm telling you, Chris, the more we talk this through, and that's one of the reasons I love doing this show, I think we need to get ready for a significant increase in the suspension, and I'm not going to be surprised if Roger Goodell decides to make it a year. And here's the only downside. The only downside. The threat/promise by the NFL Players Association to take this to court. And we talked about that already. It's easy to win the race to the courthouse when you control the starter's pistol. They'll file an action seeking a declaratory judgment in the Southern District of New York, basically saying we know that they're going to fight us on this. We're the ones filing the lawsuit to defend this ruling. And I think they'll win based upon the Brady precedent and the Elliott precedent because, again, judges don't want to get involved. And judges are going to say, hey, union, you agreed to this. Don't come crying to us in the black robes because you agreed to let Roger Goodell have final say over the appeal. He's bound by the facts. What are the facts? She found he did it. He's not bound by her reasoning as to what the punishment should be after she finds that he did it.
I hear you.
I'm going to have I would be stunned if there's any other outcome than that. But here's the one thing. We talked about this yesterday. As he's calling around to the 5 or 6 owners that really run the league, there's still a chance Robert Kraft and Jerry Jones are going to say, we'd like this too. I don't want to get dragged into this. But I will say this. There's just a mention in a footnote about the treatment of owners and players because she focused so much more on the fact that they're trying to apply the personal conduct policy in an unprecedented way without giving notice to the players. That was the thrust of her argument.
Right.
It's like she didn't even get to this idea of apples-to-apples comparisons between owners and players because there is no apples-to-apples comparison. I think that's kind of implicit in this. What Robert Kraft was accused of was incredibly different. It was a similar context, but it's incredibly different. No allegation of force. No allegation of sexual assault.
There's a place that was doing that.
Trying. Right. Yeah. I mean, it was.
They were expecting erections at the end of the massage. Sorry,
there was nothing. Yeah. There was nothing for Kraft to try to get someone who didn't want to do it to do.
Right.
So it's incredibly different. And you know what? Kraft could read this and say, I'm comfortable with the possibility of getting dragged into a federal action because I was
already been embarrassed. Yeah.
He came out of this thing unscathed.
Yeah.
So I just.
Well, sorry. So,
knowing what I know of Roger Goodell and the National Football League, it will be a shock to me if they don't take full advantage of this power and suspend Deshaun Watson for a full year. I'm not saying they should. I'm just saying based upon watching and monitoring and writing about and talking about and thinking about the way this business does its business for 20 years, it does not take a whole lot of thought and analysis for me to come to the conclusion that he's getting a year.
Yeah, I do. I don't know if I agree with a year, but I think definitely something significant as far as a bump up in the games or suspended there. You know, Mike. And there, one other thing I want to ask you. You know, just like, do you think that any part of this decision from Goodell and, of course, the owners that we're discussing here is also going to be a little bit of like, you know, yeah, we need to suspend him because we need to teach like other owners and Jimmy Haslam that, you know, this is just not the right approach. When a guy has this type of situation, we don't give him like the greatest contract in the history of football. Do you think that plays into this at all? Like almost kind of penalizing Cleveland for doing this when they probably know they shouldn't have and they forced themselves into this issue?
Hey, that's one of the benefits of making it up as you go. That's one of the benefits of making decisions about one specific case without regard to precedent or consistency. If there are messages you want to send as part of the one case that happens to be in front of you now, you can bake those messages into whatever the final decision is. Now, they're not going to come out and say it, but that may be part of it. And, hey, Chris, that's why I don't rule out the mixed bag approach that we talked about yesterday.
Right.
Where he gets fined $10 million because he was fined nothing as a result of yesterday, and he's only going to lose $345,000 in salary thanks to the contract that he was given by Jimmy Haslam and the Browns.
Yeah.
But you know, maybe it's 12 and you have to pay the $10 million back that you earned last year when you weren't playing. Not because I've seen people say, and folks,
well, yes, get into this because I think this is another important thing.
Let's apply
here.
common sense here. I've seen people who are supposedly smart say that last year wasn't a de facto suspension, and the only reason he didn't play is because he didn't want to play. He would have played for the Dolphins last year if there weren't the 24, and at the time it was 22, off-field issues, the possibility of a criminal case, and the reality that the NFL was eventually going to take this up and do something about it. He would have been traded to the Dolphins Labor Day weekend at the latest. The only reason it didn't happen was because of the lawsuits.
Right.
Stephen Ross wanted the lawsuits settled as a condition to doing the trade. He would have played last year. He didn't play last year because of this issue. He wasn't playing for the Texans regardless.
Right.
But he would have played football in the NFL last year but for these issues.
Right. Well, see, that to me it's an important thing. It is an important thing. One, again, the optics here. All the women, yes, got $10 million last year. What was the signing bonus he got this year? $46 million? What was the signing bonus he got?
$45 million.
$45 million. So he's made $55 million with 24 civil suits, and I know he hasn't played football. That just doesn't look right, period. Let alone, I don't agree with the argument of he served his time last year. I used to be like a little on the fence with that, and I'm not sure. But as we've gone through this process, I go, no. You kind of explained it. I just want to kind of piggyback on that. He told the Texans he didn't want to play for them. He wanted out of there. He wanted to go somewhere else. Then this happened, okay? And all of this started to come out. And like you said, at that point, he wasn't suspended. There was no issue. It was still an ongoing investigation. But he didn't play last year, not because he was suspended or anything like that. He didn't play last year because of his actions. Again, it's his accountability here. It's not the NFL. He would have played last year, of course, if he didn't have these issues. But there was a number of issues that he caused, and it wasn't an official suspension. So that's where I don't necessarily agree with, he served his time last year. No, I don't think he did. And especially not when you get $10 million on it. And, yes, when you're making demands about where you want to play and where you want to go, and then that comes out, nobody wants you to play for them. I mean, nobody. So that wasn't a suspension. That was a, hey, I don't know if we want this freaking guy on our team. That's all that was. It wasn't a suspension. So I don't like that always. But, yeah, go ahead.
But I think the overlap here is this, Chris, because there are people who are saying that it was completely unrelated to any of this stuff. It was just an impasse with the Texans. My point is, if the commissioner wants to do this, you can fine him $10 million for last year, treating it as if he were on paid leave because of all of this stuff, because that's the way the CBA is set up.
Right.
And that was the kind of light bulb that flashed for me when I saw in the CBA that if you do put a guy on the commissioner exempt list, let's say he's on the commissioner exempt list for a year, and then after the fact he's suspended without pay, he gets credit for the time that he spent on the commissioner exempt list. He just has to give back the money that he was paid while he was on paid leave. So if you're on paid leave for a year, you ultimately get suspended 12 games, you give up your pay for 12 games, and you're back. You're good to go.
Yeah.
And I think that's important because that is a way for Goodell to not make him sit out all of 2022, and a way for him to give back some of the millions that maybe some of the more powerful owners in the NFL who don't like what Jimmy Haslam has done by turning the structure upside down with this contract for a guy who's had all these allegations. That's a way to recapture some of that money.
Right.
So Goodell can do whatever. He can do whatever he wants to do. If he wants to sit him out the whole year, he'll sit him out the whole year. If he wants to say 6 games plus you pay back every penny you made from last year, he can do that. My point is, he's going to do something beyond 6 games. I am convinced of that.
I'm with
you
there.
They will appeal. And he will impose a significant punishment, but because they asked for a full season, I'm going to take them at their word. The NFL asked for a full season. I'm going to assume that he's going to be most inclined to sit him out for a full season.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.